Hello everyone, I'm Melissa and welcome to my channel. So this is the first project that I designed for this channel, which is a series on US history, and this is its first episode, which is specifically on the American Revolution. So let's get started. Now, before we jump into any of the detail of the revolution, we have to be aware of a thing. We have to learn about the historical contexts leading up to the outbreak of the Independence War, because how did the king's royal subjects suddenly turn into intractable rebels? Well, this was not a sudden thing. It's actually an outbreak of continuously building tensions. So, all the contexts that matter to our discussion in this episode would started from the Seven Years' War. And for this war, or what Americans would call the French and Indian War later, the two long don't read version would be Britain from France and Spain, which were the defeated powers, acquired huge chunks of land in the New World. Yes, you hear me. Spain was also involved in this war, the Seven Years' War. So let's zoom in a bit and understand what's happened here. The Seven Years' War began in 1754, but it escalated into a global conflict in 1756. So officially, this was the start of the Seven Years' War. And up until this point, Spain stayed neutral in this global conflict. So it was basically just France and Britain, these traditional enemies fighting against each other globally. But in 1762, Spain entered the war on France's behalf. Why would the Spanish help the French beat the British? Well, for two reasons. Reason number one, there was actually some relationship between France and Spain in that both of them were ruled by the House of Bourbon. And secondly, and most strategically significant, was that the Spanish were afraid that if Britain again win in North America, then back in Europe the balance of powers would be disrupted, which was apparently not a desirable outcome. So, another game of powers. Anyway, as we've mentioned, since France and Spain were both ruled by the House of Bourbon, they signed a treaty on military alliance in 1761, which is called the Third Family Compact, whose name was just a bit hilarious. And in this treaty, Spain promised to help France if it was still at war with Britain by May the 1st, 1762. But Britain preemptively declared war on Spain in January 1762. After joining the war, Spain quickly lost its Havana to the British. Havana would be today's Cuba. But the Spanish got their onwards from their French alliance, which is all the France's territories to the west of the Mississippi River, plus New Orleans in Louisiana. This deal was settled in the Treaty of Fontainebleau, which was signed in secret between France and Spain before the Treaty of Paris, which we would discuss later. In the following Treaty of Paris signed among Britain, France, and Spain, Britain returned to Spain the Havana territory, which Spain lost to it in the war. And in exchange, Spain lost all its territories of Florida, which include modern day Florida and parts of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, to Britain. And for your reference, this is a modern day United States map. This is a map depicting the territory changes of Britain, France, and Spain in the Seven Years' War. Note that to the west of the Mississippi River would be the Spanish territory, and to the east would be the British territories. But you can't even see where France is. Well, yes. This meant that France had lost all its significant territories in North America, retaining only a few small islands off Newfoundland for fishing and its Caribbean sugar islands due to their economic value.